got drafted by the Milwaukee Bucks. You were with them from 1976 to 1978, and then with the Pacers from 1978 to 1980. Respectable start to your career. I think with the Pacers, you were averaging 16 points per game during the 78-79 season. But your career obviously took off when you went to the Nuggets. You were there from 1980 to 1990, and that's when everything really clicked, and you became the NBA Hall of Famer Alex English, the 8-time NBA All-Star, Alex English, which is funny. We could spend the entire show just talking accolades for you. Like, the list, I feel like, is endless. I tried to get them all in there for sure. But, like, you obviously, again, evolved as a player those first couple of years. But what do you think? What made it click in Denver? And, again, you were surrounded – give credit. You were surrounded by a very good team. I think you guys made the playoffs, 8 or 9 years in a row? And you set your career high with them scoring your first season, 23.8 points per game. Just talk about when you got to Denver, what clicked for you, and obviously you guys had massive amounts of success there.
Well, what happened with Denver, I was in Indiana playing for the Pacers. George McGinnis was in Denver playing for Denver. Donnie Walsh who was my assistant coach in college, was also in Denver, and he was the assistant coach there. And he took over for Larry Brown after they fired him, and they made him the head coach. And he knew my game. He knew my character. And he said, hey, we should get Alex English. But on top of that, Indiana wanted George McGinnis back because he was a homegrown player from Indianapolis. So the trade was made during the All-Star break. My wife was pregnant with my daughter Jade. So it was one of those times where I left. I got traded to Denver, and left my family back in Indiana. So I was in a hotel for a while. But I also got an opportunity to play for my college coach, which made me more comfortable. And the style of play was a better style for me. And Doug Moe came in, and Doug Moe took over and made the style even better. It's more of a fast-paced, get up and down the floor, fast-paced offense. Gave me an opportunity to shoot the ball a lot. And because Donnie Walsh was the coach, I felt comfortable. He was okay with me shooting the ball, so I shot. And it was, it was the beginning of my career to me. My style of play changed because, I became a get up and down the floor, fast break, run, jump, rebound, block shot type of player. Whereas when in Milwaukee and Indiana, it was a set offense where we set it up, we run a play, and you run a play for one person. But in the offense that I played for in Denver, there was no one person that was supposed to shoot the ball. If you had the shot, you took it.
Mm. For sure. I'm just looking, I'm looking over your Denver Nuggets career. And again, you guys as a team as well had a lot of success. And in the 1985 playoffs, and I'm just reading this, you averaged 30.2 points. You guys beat the Spurs, the Jazz, and some of these teams that you played against. I mean, it's crazy.
Oh, man,
you met up with the Lakers, and you broke your thumb. I think you broke your thumb, and you guys lost to the Lakers in that series. And in a 2006 interview, you said, "I think if I had not broken my thumb, we had a chance to beat the Lakers." You guys. I mean, again, those Nuggets teams, man, you guys had a lot of success.
And the teams that we played against
were legendary teams.
Tell you something,
legends.
Like we had to get to the Lakers. We had to go through Utah with Karl Malone and John Stockton, Thurl Bailey. We get through them, and then we had to go play the San Antonio Spurs. They had George Gervin and Artis Gilmore, and it was great basketball and great players. Most of the players that I played against during that time, in my position, are in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
The Lakers, and we get to the great Forum. I don't know if you know the Forum. I heard of the Forum, but it was a great venue for basketball. Mm. So we played the Lakers the first game. They had home court advantage. We go out there and they just slaughtered us. I think they beat us by 25, 30 points.
Right.
Next game, also at the Great Western Forum, we play them and we just We ran them out of their own. We ended up beating. So we go back to Denver because back then it was 2-3-2. And so we go back for 3 games. First game back, we're winning. We're beating the Lakers. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar goes up for a rebound. He comes down and he's doing this,
Oh, yeah.
swinging his elbow. I put my hand up trying to stop him, and he got me. And I had my fingers taped, had my thumbs taped because I had this injury in my ligaments here. But because it wouldn't move, he hit me right here in the finger here and broke my thumb, and that ended my playoffs. But it was a great run. We got back to the playoffs again, but we didn't get back to the Western Conference Finals again.
And I want to ask you again. You're a player. The greatness of you. Greatness respects greatness. Who was the best player you'd say you ever went up against in the NBA? Is there one guy that stands out that just like the battles you guys had back and forth that still stand out to you?
Now you gotta remember now. I played in the era where most of the top 50 players came from.
Right. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Played small forward. Every night I had a player that I had to play against that was probably a future Hall of Fame. If it wasn't James Worthy, it might be Dominique Wilkins, or it's George Burke. Every night there was a great player. I was lots of times when I sat on the bench, I was a spectator. But the greatest player, I couldn't say who the greatest player was, but the Julius Erving and Artis Gilmore and Kareem and Elvin Hayes and the greatest player I played against that guarded me was probably Dennis Rodman.
Really? Wow.
Yes, because his focus was mainly playing defense and rebounding, and my goal, my main focus was to score. So there was a clash there. He had to stop me, and I had to score over him. So the way I would get around a lot of folk is that I would outrun them. I was very fluid on the floor. I would get up and down the floor in the fast break, get a lot of easy shots. I could not run Dennis Rodman. I get the ball. He's right there with me.
Yeah, which is so interesting because I'll be upfront with you. I'm not like an NBA historian or anything, but I did watch the Michael Jordan documentary. So like I'm just, it's funny to hear that. And like obviously when MJ got in the league, it was kind of near the tail end, I guess, of when you were finishing your time in the league, correct? And there's this young kid from North Carolina that comes out and is just tearing it up.
Great story about the Chicago Bulls. We go to Chicago. This is when they had Scottie Pippen and they had Jordan. This was like maybe second, third year, maybe third year. And, we go and we play and we're killing them. We're killing them. And, I was having a decent game. Not a great game, a decent game. And, I was scoring a few. And Scottie Pippen was guarding me. And I think at halftime, Michael Jordan must have told Scottie, let me guard him. And I think I might have scored 2 points the rest of the game.
Oh.
He was that tough defensively.
He took it personally. He took it personally.
He was a tenacious basketball player.
I'm sure he was talking a lot to you too. I'd have to imagine.
No, he wasn't.
He was just like the silent assassin.
Yeah, he was just silent. But I didn't guard him on the other end. He only guarded me on the on the defensive end.
Wow. Incredible. Well, you getting back to your career, Alex, you closed up your NBA career again after that run with the Nuggets. You spent a year with the Dallas Mavericks. And I just want to go back over these numbers because your career in the NBA, 25,613 points. You averaged 21.5 points per game, 6,538 rebounds, 5.5 a game, 4,351 assists, 3.6 a game. Now with the Nuggets, the holder of nearly every team record, most points, assists, games, minutes. You're also known as, you're the first NBA player to score 2,000 points in 8 consecutive seasons, and you have the distinction of being the NBA top scorer in the 1980s. Pretty darn good career. And then, of course, you're inducted in the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame, the NBA Hall of Fame in 1997. I I mean, man, what more I don't even know what more I can say. I don't know if you can explain the feelings or emotions. And I feel like it's probably and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's probably one of those things that, while you're in it, you're such a competitor, you're so locked in. Maybe you're not really thinking about the Hall of Fame or these accolades or that. But I'm sure there was a moment for you, and maybe it came in 97 when you got inducted, where you take a second, you sit back and you're like, wow, I mean, I did that. You know what I mean? Like you did that. What
I do that every
Yeah.
day. I'm so blessed to
Yeah.
be able to experience the life I've lived, and I'm grateful and thankful every day.
Mhm.
There are so many moments in this life. During all that, I got a chance to do a movie with Gregory Peck and Jamie Lee Curtis,
Mhm.
which I enjoyed. I got a chance to go to South Africa and meet Nelson Mandela when he was released from prison. I got the chance to meet Ronald Reagan. There were so many opportunities and so many things that the game of basketball gave me. I got the chance to be in the first group that went to China when they first opened the country up.
Mhm.
Those are the things that stand out the most. My basketball career, it just seemed like that was supposed to be like that. It's supposed to happen.
You're born to play basketball.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was supposed to be that way. Once I got rolling, but
Mhm.
getting a chance to travel and see the world and
Mhm.
meet Nelson Mandela,
Yeah.
one of the great all-time leaders. Ronald Reagan, different politics, but a great president.
Mhm.
I got a chance to have an effect on feeding starving people in Ethiopia.
Mhm.
That was probably the crowning moment, a crowning achievement of my career, being able to marshal all of my all-star players to donate the money that they made during the All-Star game, which the NBA matched everything we raised.
Mhm.
They matched. We were able to raise over $500,000 to feed people in the northern part of Ethiopia.
Mhm.
And back then, we would, the winners would get 8,000, losers might get 5,000. We weren't making a lot of money.
Right.
We weren't making a lot of money. So when we got that all-star money, we were going to make that all-star money. That was like extra gravy.
Right.
So for those guys to be able to give up, it was just an honor for me to be able to have that type of effect
Mhm.
on the other players.
Now, Alex, we got to talk about, though, when you were inducted in 97, just talk about when you got that call, when you found out you were going to be inducted in the NBA Hall of Fame again. That's something that you just dream of playing in the league, much less being in the Hall of Fame. But
Yeah.
you get the call, you go to the enshrinement ceremony. I mean, just walk me through that. I mean, can you explain even the emotions and the sense of pride and I guess humility you probably felt during that time, being recognized like that?
Well, it was great. It was a great feeling. It was an honor. I can remember at that time, the very same year after I got inducted in the Hall of Fame, right before that, they had selected the 50 greatest players in the NBA
Mhm.
up until that time, and I felt slighted. So it was kind of like a salve on the wound
Mhm.
to be inducted into the Hall of Fame on my first shot. Uh, and then have my family there. My Julius Irving was my presenter, as well as my son Alex Jr. So it was an honor for me. It was one of those feelings that you I don't know. I don't know if it's like being a mountain climber and then getting to the top of Mount Rushmore,
Yeah.
on top of the largest mountain in the
Mount
world, like
Everest, you talking about? Mount Everest?
Mount Everest.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rushmore is a different mountain.
Yeah.
That's
No, I get the comparison there.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you were underrated? I mean, because I feel like you said, like when you think top 50 players, like Alex English is not a name that is spoken of quite as much for whatever reason. I mean, why do you think that is? Do you feel like you're underrated?
I do. I felt like during my career, I was too quiet. I wasn't a braggadocio type player.
Weren't flashy.
All I did was to go out and do my work every night. But
Right.
I felt that the numbers that I gave should have been enough to put me in that elite category because People say, well, he was just a scorer. As you look at those statistics that you're looking at, you can see I was more than just a scorer. I was a rebounder, I was a shot blocker, and I'm on top of that, I passed the ball. I mean, as you look at the top forwards in the NBA from my era during that time, I was probably one of the top assist guys, even though I scored a lot of points. So I did feel slighted, and I thought of some of the younger players that they'd put in ahead of me when, my body of work had already been done. So, but I got over it. I know in my heart, I know that my fans are people, excuse me,
You from? No.
people that know the game. They know what my work was.
That's what I was gonna say. That's what I love about the NBA is just the debate of who the best players are. It still rages on now. Obviously, I do want to talk about.
Will always.
Yeah, it will always go
on.
There'll always be debate. I'm sure even between you guys, amongst all the players, it's still the jabbing back and forth, and going after.